All right, folks. We're going to go ahead and get this match started here in just a little bit. Amān Sunār, just waiting for him to arrive to the venue. So hold tight, and we will be starting all this shortly.
some meditation. Maybe grab it. Yeah, you don't really drink while you play. But you really drink while you play. That's what you do is that you should go to the bar and hang out for a while. Let him get here, and then be like, "Yeah, I should die. Just fucking right back home, but I'm on the way back." Yeah, dude. At 6:45. Seriously, dude, that would be fucking legit. Like the most epic, slip like that. Is it not working? My phone should work. Sometimes it like doesn't work. I have to like restart it. So that's my bad. No, I didn't get calls or anything. Sorry. You ready? You want to do a bracket? You guys want to early tempo first syllables? You want first syllables? Okay, early 10. Yeah, okay. All right. Okay. Yeah, 3 foul. That was fair play. Yeah. Well, thank you. I wanted to see the Spanish. Yeah. Let me just shift one right. Ready to go.
9 ball or 10?
I'll take a look at it. Right. Oh yeah, there's 6 people that watch it. Okay. Don't tell me. I don't want to know about it. Yeah, dude, I didn't have to work today, so I was chilling all day too. That's fine. I mean, I wish I wasn't working.
Man,
You got the good
last time
life.
I messed up so bad. I was playing with Bo 2 days ago.
Yeah. I heard about that. I was at the Res that night, so Chad was telling me that you guys were playing.
Yeah.
Because he was there, so he said he lost.
Yeah, it was like 5, 15, 13 once.
Okay.
He had me 14-9, bro. 14-8. I think 8 or 9.
Okay.
He had me 14. He just need 1 game.
Yeah.
He almost came back the other hill, bro. He almost fucked up.
Were you playing good or?
No, I played worse at first, like fucking not even making balls.
How you let Bo beat you?
And I was like not even in my game, but later on I catch my gear so good. But I was not giving him a shot, and I was like making every ball easier, making it easier for me myself. And at the last moment I messed up a placement where I could be in the hill. I had a shot, I was about to run out. Messed up an easy placement and hooked myself and gave him a shot, and he runs out from there.
Okay.
All right, folks, thank you for joining in. Amān just arrived, so he's going to do a quick warm-up rack here, and then we will begin the match. So go ahead and grab a drink, grab some food, Get ready, get settled in. This is going to be a pretty great match. Thank y'all for joining. Stay tuned, and we'll be back shortly.
Alright, Zach. We ready?
All right, everyone, thank you for joining in. We're going to go ahead and get started here. This is Amān Sunār versus Gus Targonsky. And they lined up for the lag on the right side of the table based on the way I inputted it in the system. Coincidence? Yes, let's go. Ken Clifford, I miss playing at Ox. Makes me wish I was still in Seattle. Yeah, Ox Billiards. This is the place to be if you want to improve your game. We have membership days on Mondays and Wednesdays. If you are a member, you get 24-hour access to the club. You can indulge in snooker, pool. We also have a Hey Joy Chinese 8-ball table. So it's kind of a hybrid between a snooker table and a 9-footer. All right, so it looks like they're deciding to rack your own. I know they are also playing winner break. So Gus here to break off the first rack. Pretty decent break. Unfortunately, the 1 is a little bit obscured here by the 9. I imagine Gus will probably just try to kick at this 1 ball. Okay, he's just going to go ahead and push. Give himself a little bit more of an angle if Amān decides to give it back to him. Ken Clifford didn't have the joy table while I was there. Yeah, it's a cool improvement to the club. I believe Jesse Ooh helped sponsor that table existing in this space. So shout out to Jesse. So Amān with a really tough one, but you know, this is pretty good. If he had made it, he would be good on the 2, but it's kind of a good two-way shot just going for this. I imagine Gus will probably break out the short stick here. Apologize again for the delay of this match, but you know, Seattle traffic on a Wednesday affects everyone, especially when it rains out. Oh, and the jump here, unfortunately, knocking the cue ball off the table. They are playing 3 foul rule, and they are playing early 10 called. So, while the 2-10 combo isn't really in play, unless you were being a bit aggressive here. All right, so Amān's just going to try to draw back to the right side of the table here. So he has the 4 in the lower left corner. Didn't get as much action as he wanted. He probably wanted to be a little bit closer mid-table, side right pocket for this 4 in the lower left, but it still goes. Question is if he can have the cue ball just kind of run between the 10 and the 8 without bumping that 8. Even though he bumped it, this is okay. He is going to run into the 9, so the shot on the 8 ball will be a little bit obscured. Cue ball will kind of be rolling away from the line on the 8. But he handled it really well. Overran it with power, but he still has a look. So he navigated that pretty well. Opts for a safety here, and it's gonna end up pretty glued to the 9. So, well, let's take a look here. He might actually be able to. Yeah, kind of looks like he's gonna be able to combo this up into the corner. All right, so this is really Gus's first chance at the table after that push out. Barely misses it, but kind of sells out this run. Leave on the 9 is going to be a little tricky. I wonder if he actually bumps into the 9 to kind of send that 9 towards that right top corner. Yep, that's what he ended up doing. Really nice leave here. Now he can go 2 rails for the 10 in the lower right corner. So he's just going to run this up with a little bit of left. All right, so Amān taking rack 1 here. This is a race to 13. Thank you all for joining. Let me know where you're joining from. It looks like we've got about 14 viewers currently across all of our platforms. Thank you so much for joining us this evening. My name is Zach Ross, here in the commentary booth for Ox Billiards. If you've been to Ox Billiards before, let me know. If you're interested in knowing more, you can check out our website. We do have a really great membership program here. Mondays and Wednesdays are members only, but you do get 24-hour access to the club as a member. So you can show up before or after public hours any day of the week and get your reps in on the table. We do have 8 9-foot rasons here. We do have 4 snooker tables and 1 Hey-Joy table. So if you want to practice all of your disciplines, this is the place to be. All right, Ken Clifford from Portland. I know the Northwest Cup is going to be over at Legends Billiards. Ox Billiards hosted the Northwest Cup last year. That was an awesome event. If you're in the Portland area, ooh, cue ball off the table here on the break. If you are in the Portland area, the Northwest Cup will be happening in November. Looks like the event will be happening over the weekend of November 23rd and 24th. Allison Fisher and Raw Hannah of On the Wire Creative Media will be hosting that event, so go ahead and check that out if you're in the Portland area. But for now, Gus is going to go ahead and work his way through this rack. He's going to avoid bumping the 10 here because he does need to get back table for the 4. So he's going to go about 3 rails here. Maybe even a 4th rail just for that extra security. Really nice drawback to hold position here. He's going to have to go for the 5-7 combo. Now, I think I hit this with top just to kind of roll it in and maintain the cue ball control as well. Okay, the 5 came up a little bit funny. I think he wanted to stay on that long rail as opposed to getting the 5 on the short rail. He's going to have to kind of rethink his leave here for the cue ball. All right, so using everyone's favorite weapon, the bridge, but he executes it pretty nice. Gets enough off of that top rail to give himself a good shot here on the 6. I think he's going to stun out here to that left long rail to have the 9 ball in the same pocket. Yep, executed that pretty perfect. He can almost do the exact same thing here for the 10. It's okay with the stop shot. Yeah, that works. All right, so Gus taking a rack of his own here. Tied 1-1. Shout out to everyone watching here. Thank you all for joining me on this Wednesday evening. I know it's hump day, so there's a lot of happy hour discounts at your local bars, but thank you for joining me here. Maybe you're watching from your local bar, who knows? The World Series is also going on, so I'm sweating that action on the side. If you are too, let me know who you're rooting for. Dodgers fan here, so... Really good break from Gus here, but it's going to be dry. Okay, the 5-7 ended up getting a little weird, so it's not terrible that it's dry. And also the 4 is kind of obscured by that point on the side pocket there. So I imagine Amān will probably play safe. He's got a pretty good look on the 1 here. Oh, that leaked out. Yeah, he definitely just wanted that to sit behind the 5-7, but Andy Cloth runs a little fast. I would say a little long. I'm not sure if it runs fast. But honestly, since they switched to the Andy Cloth, I like it a lot. I play here pretty often. Andy Cloth is also a sponsor of the club. So we appreciate them felting these tables for us. All right, so the 3 to the 4 is going to be the interesting choice here for Gus. All right, so Gus ended up playing defense on the 4. Smart choice. Yeah, a little bit tricky there to make contact. Almost looks like the 4 is frozen, but let's take a look here. Almost frozen, maybe frozen. So even if he made contact, he would have had to have one of those balls hit another rail. And so Gus is just going to run this one up, try to make contact with that 7, almost clipped it. Unfortunately, now that he didn't hit it at all, much further away from his work than he wanted. Really good try though, but the 5-7 does look like it's in play. Unfortunate scratch there. Ends up freeing the 5-7 and giving an Amān a chance here to run this one out. Yeah, so Amān wants to end up about middle table so he can go 3 rails back for that 7. It's going to be a little bit of a tricky lay here. I think he's a little bit steeper on this angle than he wanted. But let's see if he can manipulate the cue ball back around table. Yeah, that's what I was worried about. Wasn't going to get around that 10-8 with that angle. If he was a little bit steeper, or I guess wider of an angle on that previous lay, then he would have been able to go 3 rails back up at the 7, but fortunately clips the 10 here. And he might be able to see a piece of this 7, but if you go airborne, you can get the whole thing. I imagine he actually tries to bank this in the bottom left corner, so he has cue ball position for the 8 in the same pocket, which is exactly what he wanted to do, but ends up taking the 7 in the top left. And Gus here is going to take advantage of this. 8's a little tricky here, but he should be able to get a pretty good lead for the 9. And he's on the top side of it, which is what you want. You can just run this down to the short rail or stop it if he wants. I think I would have ran it down to the short rail just so I have a bit more angle on that 10 for the side pocket, but this should work pretty fine. All right, and with that, Gus is up 2-1. Thank you all again for joining us on this Wednesday evening or morning or afternoon, wherever you are tuning in from. This is Ox Billiards in Seattle, Washington. My name is Zach Ross. I intend to run more of these streams, either on Mondays or Wednesdays each month, probably at least twice a month, maybe more. But if you are a member and you are interested on being featured on the stream, go ahead and email me at zach.oxbilliards@gmail.com. I know Mike Dominguez will be reaching out to members shortly here regarding that as well. But I'm looking to set up some action, so let me know if you're interested, if you remember. All right, big break here from Gus. Makes the 9 on the side and the 3 in the top right corner. One ball is not quite set up for a pot unless he wants to be aggressive and reverse bank this into the bottom right corner. But there's a pretty decent defense opportunity here. He just sends the cue ball right behind that 8. Yeah, it leaked a little bit. So, not the most ideal safety, but at least it doesn't give a gimme for Amān. So Amān decides to safety back. And clipping the 7, that's okay. I think Gus might go for this bottom right corner for the bank. Overran a bit here, but I think Amān can make this in the top right corner, and if he draws it, he might be able to actually punch that 2 ball towards the top left. Really depends what he wants to do here. Yeah, opts for the safety. Almost glued it to that 8 ball. But I think Gus is going to at least be able to kick at it. It's kind of hard to tell from this angle. Let me see if I can zoom in here. Okay, so was able to get a piece of it. And he's going to get it right behind that 8. Oops, sorry about that, folks. So a little bit of a thin contact here. All right, so after some safety play, looks like Gus is going to be able to have a chance here. Might have to cheat the pocket a little bit just to get that 2 angle. Yeah, he was really trying to cheat the pocket, but kind of forcing that angle into it. Oh, and he's going to get real lucky here. Really lucky with this position. Not quite sure Amān wants to jump over this 4. Think he'll probably opt for the kick. Less risky than running into the 4. Ooh, and just barely missed it. Rail first on that previous shot, Ken Clifford. Yeah, no, I agree. That's a smart choice. You know, you're not forcing the ball into the pocket. You're not trying to force cue ball position. If you kind of cut into that 1, then the cue ball will naturally roll towards that 2. I like that. But nonetheless, you know, Gus gets lucky here and has a chance to run this out. He's going to have to opt for a 4-6 combo unless he can get on this side, which beautifully executed. That is pinpoint precision on that shot. Wow. He is slightly straight, so gonna have to run this up a little bit to have the 5 in the same pocket. That's fine. Dealt with it quite nice. Imagine he just goes back and forth here. Leave the cue ball just on the other side of that foot spot there. Needs to get the speed. He's going to land right on it. Oh, don't hide behind the 8. Is that enough of a bump to see it? Oh, no. I don't know if he can see that ball. He might. He might have to swerve a little bit here. Yeah. He's calling the pocket. A little bit of a swerve. Ooh, no, too much swerve. Gosh, after running like that too, to give up those last 2 balls, I know how that feels. All right, so Amān just going to take the 1-2 punch here. Tie this game up 2-2. Right, so Amān pockets the 10 on the break, but of course in 10 ball does not count. So even though it was a pretty decent break because of the 10 ball sinking and the way that the 2 balls lined up, just a little bit awkward here. I think he might opt for a safety, just kind of send that 2 ball on the other side of the 5 if he hits it really soft. Okay, opted to hit it harder. I was curious if he was trying to create distance there, but because you're hitting that ball at that speed, the 2 ball's kind of going to travel the same speed as the cue, so pretty decent chance here for Gus if he decides to make the 2 and sort of break out this 4-10, but I think he's just going to go for the 2, leave himself. Oh, 2-8 combo. Nice choice. Keeps the 2 ball consolidated around the same pocket. Alright, so just going to roll up on this one to keep the cue ball pretty much where the 2's at. All right. Played the margin of error there. Bigger window on this side. It's one thing I enjoy about watching these better shooters. It's kind of working through their mental process as I also commentate, seeing what they would do. So accepting that bigger window and a longer shot allowed him for better cue ball control. So I'm not exactly sure if the 4 goes clean by the 10. Okay, so he's going to opt for a bit of a safety here. Yeah, I like that. Giving distance. 4-9 combo is pretty difficult from here, so. Amān with the safety, though. Oof. What a shot. Since Gus only has to jump about of a quarter of a ball here, he might need to jump over this 9. It was really good safety play there from Amān. Okay, so Gus is going to intentionally foul here. Try and tie that 9 up, make it a little bit awkward for the 6. I don't really see a 3 foul opportunity here for Amān. All the balls are pretty spread out. So I think he's going to work for the 4-5. Able to bump that 6, but at what cost? Not sure he gets a full look on this 5, so he is going to have to jump. But since the 5 is sitting pretty close to the pocket, it's not a bad play. Really good move, actually, moving that 6 out early. If you think you can still get the line, then it's worth it. Yeah, and he clips the 9 going into that, so. Yeah, it's also an interesting thing to think about. You want to, like, aggressive on doing the breakout that you need to run the rest of the rack versus making the easier shot and leaving yourself for a combo or a safety. I think it's player preference, but it's always interesting to see what players do. Ken Clifford's self-safeties are the toughest. Yeah, I agree. Whenever you self-safety yourself, it's a bit aggravating, but you got to recover and find the shot. So Gus with ball in hand here. Didn't leave himself particularly great for the 9, so he's gonna have to swing this 3 rails. Okay, just opted to roll it up. Okay, yeah, the 9's on the lower end of that side pocket, so this is fine. He should actually be able to run this with running English for the 10 in the same pocket. I don't know why, for some reason, he was going to shoot the 9 in the top right, but ignore me. So this is a really good capitalization here on Amān's mistake. Putting Gus up 3-2. Thank you all again for joining us. This is a Ox Billiards match hosted in Seattle, Washington. If you are in the area, have ever stopped by Ox Billiards, you'll know that we've got premium equipment here. Anyone looking to better their game, this is the place to do so. I know every time I play on these tables and then play elsewhere, my game has significantly improved, so Alright, so I noticed Gus likes to use the handrail for his 10-ball break. Anyone else out there watching that plays 10-ball, what's your opinion on resting your hand on the rail? I believe Dan Louie also likes to rest his hand on the rail when he breaks. I think it's just more for stabilization. Me personally, I just play at the line, a little bit off center, and break with a little bit of a sort of downward angle in my cue. So I'm actually raising my arm a little bit to kind of create that popping motion when the cue ball hits the rack. Looks like Gus is going to opt for a push here. Alright, so Amān has a choice of this pocket. Ooh, hit it a little bit too hard. Ken saying you either get better or humbled by those Rasan tables. Yes, I agree 100%. If you shoot on a bar box and you think you are a champion, and then you shoot on these tables, you will be humbled. Alright, so Gus just going to roll this out. Narrowly escapes clipping the 4, but he does have the 4 in the upper right corner. I think he stuns this back across table for the 5-8 combo. He might be able to sneak this 5 by the 8 if he goes point first. Kind of a ticky shot here. Point into the 8, into the pocket. Ken, that's funny. Yeah, we all have those days. If you want to check out a match where I played Tim Del Mundo, who's a great shot, you will see that I also would go home and see how bad I played. But no, shout out to Tim. He's a great guy, really good shooter. So Amān's going to capitalize on this mistake from Gus. Didn't get the best angle here, if I'm being honest. This is going to run pretty thin, trying to cut this. Oh, and he missed. Oh, he missed. No. Trying to overcut so much and hold position for the 6. That was awkward. But yeah, one thing I'm trying to do here, for members at Ox and anyone that wants to, you know, have a tough competitive match, is set up some matches where players can go back and review their tapes, see what they did right, see what they did wrong, see what their opponent did right, see what their opponent did wrong. You know, the only way that you get better is through repetition. So being able to review your fundamentals, the way you approach shots, super important to building your game. So That's something I'm trying to do here at Ox Billiards. So appreciate y'all tuning in. Alright, so Gus with a little bit of a tough cut here, but he can just run this up. I don't really see a scratch. Alright, and with that, Gus up 4-2 over Amān. And I will be right back. Alright, so Amān with the unfortunate save, but Gus could not capitalize it. So I imagine Amān tries to run this up in the top right corner. Nope. Decides to cross bank. Interesting choice. Doesn't quite get the look on the 3 that he wanted. I think I would have ran that up into the top right corner with a little bit of like stun draw to keep the cue ball open for that window for the 3. And Amān just not quite feeling his jumps yet this match, as that's the second one that he's hit the first ball, not quite clearing what he needs to, so inadvertently opening this rack now for Gus. So Gus with a pretty good starter here, the 4 to the 5. He's going to need to use some draw action to get back for that. Oh. Ken Clifford, how many members does Ox have now? I am actually not privy to that information. I do know, at least from Facebook members that are a part of the Ox Billiards members group, there's at least 54. I imagine that number is probably higher. Oh, so Gus running into those balls is now creating a cluster. Not going to be able to see the wind over the 5, so he is going to have to kick. 1 or 2 rails here. Oh, what a shot. What a recovery. And what a leave. Oh, as a pool player, you know that sometimes you take on these hero shots where you're kind of snookered and you're just like, yep, that's the shot I need to go for. I'm just going to go for it. And you get re-snookered. So kind of becomes a cascading effect sometimes, but you know, you just got to knuckle down and figure it out. Really good shot. I hope he called that bottom right. Oh, looks like he did. What a shot, Gus. Okay. He's going to go right side pocket here. Oh, I just clipped the jaws a little bit. So decent opportunity for Amān. I don't really like floating shots into the corner, but if he can kind of like stun float this, he'll have that window between the 9 and the 10. Oh no, he's gonna... Ooh, the jaws helped him out. Maybe. So yeah, sorry, Ken, to answer your question about Ox members, I think there's probably around 70. Not entirely sure. I know Mike Dominguez would have that information. Mike Dominguez, owner and proprietor of Ox Billiards. I know he was super stoked when we hosted the World 9-Ball Tour here in Seattle. It was the first time that Seattle hosted a World 9-Ball Tour ranking event. We had several pros come through. Oscar Dominguez, Tyler Steyer, Jeremy Long, Jonas Sauto, Nicholas De Leon, Lucas Fracasso Werner. Several pros came through. It was a really awesome event to have here in the Pacific Northwest. I know next year will be bigger and better. For now, I think Gus is maybe going to stun into this 10 just to give himself a look on the 9. Right, avoid the 10 completely, but a little bit steeper of an angle for the 9 in the top right corner. Oh, and he overcut it, but he's going to get lucky here because he left himself primo for that 10, but unfortunately for Amān, not primo for the 9. Yeah, August after they reopened, Ox Billiards was originally down in Pioneer Square, and they were open as just a snooker hall. They unfortunately opened in like mid 2019, right before the pandemic. So once the pandemic hit, they actually had to close up shop and relinquish that space down in Pioneer Square. But luckily, a year later after that, they were able to find this spot in Capitol Hill, and that's where Ox Billiards has been since. And it's a really great spot here. You know, it's concrete walls and concrete floor, but it's a really great pool hall. Got 8-9 foot rassons here. S tier equipment. If you're into the S through D scale here, S is the top. A, B, C, D, F. All right, so safety here from Amān. I imagine Gus is going to re-safety back or go for the 9 on the side. What a shot. My tater tot brain thought that might have gone for a safe there, but I think Gus is just trying to run these out, so... Oh, Gus, no, with the rattle. But he actually ended up pretty decent. Pretty decent layout here for that miss. Normally it'd be pretty detrimental to just leave a 10-ball hanger, but Amān's going to need to sneak this by. And he did. Nice. All right, so it's a 4-3 match.
You double kicked that ball. Man, that was fucking ball. And you fucking big. Man, bro. That was the dopest fucking shot. Every shot. And not for none.
All right, we've got Christian Youngers in the chat with Team Lefty. Looks like Amān is going to go take a player break here. Thank you all for joining in. So we got 28 viewers across all of the Ox Billiards channels. Thank you all for joining us on this Wednesday evening or Thursday morning. Wherever you are tuning in, could be Thursday afternoon if you are in Japan. Meanwhile, in the World Series, the New York Yankees are up 5-0, which I do not like to see. I do not like to see this in the bottom of the fourth, but here we are. Me sweating multiple action, table, baseball. What's your favorite sport besides pool? Let me know in the chat. We can talk about it. Jim in the chat saying this may be a Hill situation. Yeah, you know, both of these players are playing pretty well. They're both making very small mistakes in which the other player is mostly capitalizing on. So, yeah, I wouldn't be too surprised if this runs like 11-12, 11-13, even 12-13. So, stay tuned. Thank you all again for joining. We are at Ox Billiards in Seattle, Washington. If you are not a member, highly suggest you become one. You get 24-hour access to this club. You can use a snooker table, you can use a Rasson table, you can use a Hey Joy table, all of which are actually being used by members right now. So while we are sweating this action, there is action in the room. So feel free to sign up. Email mike@oxbilliards.com. If you are interested in a membership, let him know. All right, so Amān took a little bit of power off of that break. And unfortunately is tied up behind the 8-ball here. Obviously going to go for a push. Really nice touch there. leaving a little bit of this one to look at. I think Gus might actually be able to back cut this into the top. He's going to have to be pretty particular about his cue ball control. Yeah. Yep. It's a problem when you're back cutting. All that energy stays with the cue ball. But wow, what a window that found. Between the 6 and the pocket, it's not terribly large, but he somehow found it. So Amān with a good push out and opportunity here. Don't really see too many prom balls. I think maybe the 7 to 8 position might be a little bit awkward, but beyond that, I think he can stop shot this 4 based on the angle he has. He opted to roll a little bit forward just to make sure that he has enough angle for the 6 in the side. Yeah, viewers, let me know what your match predictions are. Go ahead and call out the exact score here. See what you think. Me as a commentator, it's pretty difficult to call. I like both of these players. I actually reached out to both of them just because I wanted to see this matchup. Sorry about that. Just realized that I muted music in the room. So now back up. And Amān's going to overrun this. Woof. That's unfortunate. If that would have kissed on the thick side of the 9, he would have been primo. But unfortunately, is now going to have to jump. James saying 13-10 Gus. It's a pretty good guess. See what anyone else predicts out there. Ooh, what a jump shot here from Amān. Really good hold on that cue ball too. Really didn't get too far away from the 9. Yeah, sure, it's a bit steep of a cut, but he can kind of run this back and forth. Now the 10 in the lower left corner. Doesn't want to be 50-50 with it, and this is pretty good. I like this angle. There's a lot of real estate here, but as long as you stay true with your stroke, you should be able to pocket this. Which he does. So we got ourselves a tie game here. (4-4) going into this race to 13. Meanwhile, Yankees-Dodgers. Yankees up 5-0 over the Dodgers in New York. If anyone's into conspiracy theories, I heard one yesterday at the bar that the Dodgers purposely lost because the Yankees could not be embarrassed with a 4-0 sweep at home. What do you think of that? I actually predicted this game would be close and it would go back to LA, but here we are with a 5-0, so I don't know how close this is going to be. But if you watch baseball, let me know your thoughts. All right, so Amān breaking pretty much where I break from with 10 ball. He does a closed bridge. I do an open one because I just do. Almost scratches, but he does make the 3. He makes the 6. Sort of has a decent look at the 1, maybe? I'm not going to be able to tell from that angle. Let's see. Yeah, there's no window there. So he's going to have to opt for a push. Oh, there is a window? No. Okay. I was like, wait a minute. I know the camera's deceiving, but it's not that deceiving. Okay, so looks like Gus has a kick opportunity. He might be able to actually 1-8 kick, sort of like carom kick this into the top right corner. Otherwise, if he doesn't like it, he'll give it back. Which he decided to do. I think it's smart. I think the probability of making this 1 is sort of slim. But again, if you make that perfect clip, oh, he actually just went for it. Sorry, folks. I had to change up the music here just to make sure that we're not going to get a DMCA struck on the stream. Apologize what I missed here, but it looks like Gus has a pretty good opportunity. Really nice approach here from Amān. Just gonna run this up 2 rails. Think I would have preferred 2 just to make sure you have that line, but now he's overran it. So he's gonna have to opt. Oh, he's gonna go for safe. Smart. Just send this 9 ball down to the bottom rail. No, he thinned it. Don't think that's exactly what he wanted, because Gus can see a piece of this 9 ball. So we can't really see too much of it, so I think he thins off and for a safety here. Yeah, smart choice. It's going to force Amān to kick here towards the short rail. Maybe send that 9 ball up into the top left corner. Pretty decent approach here from Amān. Gus might be able to back cut this. Kind of looks like that's what he's going for. Just got to avoid the scratch here in the side pocket, which he did nicely. He's going to roll out, avoid the other scratch. All right, nice job from Gus finishing that one out. Osaka says, my money is on Gus. Yes, we've got 2 Gus fans in the chat. Let's see, where's the Amān fans? Who thinks Amān's going to pull this out? Gus is currently up 5-4. Their Fargo ratings are 1 point apart, which is almost negligible. Let me know who you think is going to take this down. It is a winner break format. We have yet to see a break and run, but break and runs in 10 ball aren't often, so that's actually a good question. How many break and runs do you think will happen in this game? I think there will be at least 2. But that's also a pretty betting against the odds bet here, as we're already 9 racks into a total of 25 racks, I believe. If the math is mathin'. Could be 13, 12, so that's 25. But I think the way that the 1 ball has been playing on most of these breaks, you're not really going to see any break and runs unless that 1 ball actually gets made or kind of squats near a pocket. We're not going to see a break and run. I feel like it's been 9 racks now. I feel like at least 5 or 6 out of those 9 has had the 1 sort of up on the short rail. So make of that what you will. But Amān, I believe, will be playing safe here. All right, so Gus is probably going to have to break out the short stick, jump at least a quarter or a third, unless he's going to swerve. Oh, he might be able to actually see more of a ball than I thought. Okay, yeah, it leaked out more than I thought it would. It's a pretty good safety here. Don't scratch. Oof. Yeah, that was touchy. For those of you interested in the baseball action, the Dodgers do have the bases loaded with 0 outs. Yankees are currently up 5-0. For now, Amān's going to try to kick at this 1. And he barely misses it. I don't see too many problems here. 5 has a clear pocket. 4 to the 5, you kind of just draw off of that. So, yeah, this is Gus's rack to lose at this point. Faceman says team ambidextrous. Yes, I am also trying to learn how to shoot ambidextrous. Feels awkward, but I've got a pretty decent stroke with my left hand. But in terms of massive follow or draw, not quite there yet. But can make some pretty decent shots left-handed if I so choose. I have been flexing the Daniel Sardoncilio behind the back shot on some of these rails. I figure if he can do it, I can do it too. So... all right, so yeah, like I said, Gus with a pretty good opportunity here. Just going to run this up around for the 6 in the top right corner. Gets away from that 9. I imagine he just stop shots this, leaves the cue ball there for the 8 in the lower right. Face man. Oh yeah, of course. Yeah. You know, when you go team ambidextrous, you're not like, 3-rail kick with inside left spin, you know. The first shots are like, oh, this shot. Oh no, he rattled it. Oh, Gus, no. Thinking too much about the leave, perhaps. But Amān knows he's been gifted an opportunity here to tie this game up 5-5. Also, the Yankees just struck out Ohtani with bases loaded, so I am particularly peeved. But nonetheless, Amān is going to go ahead and take this, tie it up 5-5, and race to 13. Both these players shooting really well right now. Mookie Betts with the No. What happened? Oh my God. I love it. Sorry. Mookie Betts just grounded to Rizzo, and he thought maybe the pitcher was going to cover first base, and he didn't. So Mookie just swiped the bag without Rizzo touching it. All right, 1-5 Dodgers. Let's go. Faceman, how many teams came back from being down 3-0? I think I was watching the game yesterday, and I think it was only like 2 teams that ever came back, maybe 3. But conspiracy theory. Dodgers are going to lose this game hella close, so they go back to LA to win it next game. Quote me, don't quote me, I don't know. We'll see. Anyways, back to this match. Thank you all again for joining in. This is Ox Billiards in Seattle, Washington. I am Zach Ross, Q Sports communicator for Ox Billiards, putting on more of these matches monthly, so you all get an insight to the club. And if you want to become a member, please do. You get 24-hour access to the club. Faceman makes for good sports gambling. Vegas wins. Yeah, that's actually the theory that I was talking with a guy at the bar that was playing pool, APA pool yesterday. He was saying that in basketball, sort of a similar vibe. Like, oh, you know, we can maybe dog this game for better betting and more ad revenue and more eyes, that sort of thing. But I don't think Gus wanted to dog that shot, so what a rattle. Oof. kind of deep in the pocket here. So Amān's going to have to play this pretty careful. Just come 2.5, 3 rails out. All right, I was able to hit it a little bit more full than I thought. Pretty decent angle for the 3. Freddie Freeman with a line drive up the middle. It's going to score 2 runners. It's a 5-3 game now. All right, so Amān misses the 3. Leaves it pretty open for Gus here. If you're a Dodgers fan, Freddie Freeman is absolutely the MVP of this World Series. No questions asked. It's a little bit of a stun out here. I think he wanted to be closer to the point. Sorry, the foot spot there where you rack the balls, but this will be okay. I think the 4 passes the 10 in the upper right corner. Ooh. Is he going to get lucky? Is he going to get lucky? Yes, he sure did. Yes, he sure did get lucky. All right, let's take a zoom here. So Amān obviously going to jump here. Only needs to hit the thinnest corner of the 4. But he actually wants to hit it thick because he doesn't want that cue ball to travel too much. Might try to just bank this in the bottom right corner. Ends up going for the safe. Oof. He broke out that 6-8 in a way he did not like. So Gus is just going to run this up a little bit. Have that 6-8 combo. Caught that one a little too thick, but it's okay. It's a pretty decent two-way shot if you're going to go for that. Now, if Amān's feeling ambitious, he can definitely run this up the rail and get pretty good lead for the 7. Yeah, but he hit that way too thick. Hey, Ed Slade. Thank you for joining this stream. Super stoked for you to have the captainship again for the Northwest Cup. Down in Oregon this time. Got to bring it home again for the boys here in Washington. Oh, shit, you said 5-5. No, the game is 5. Thank you for updating me on the score. I'm so... trying to do so many things at once here that the Dodgers-Yankees game is now tied 5-5. Let's go. All right, so unfortunate miss there from Gus. Ooh. Caught the point. Pretty decent leave. Here's a little bit of a trivia question. Ed Slade might know the answer to this just because Gus does go to Players Club pretty often for their Friday or Saturday tournament. But there's a particular player that shows up to that bar And they have said that the player that they fear playing is Gus. Who is that player? Guesses in the chat. This is a Washington player that has said when they play a short race against Gus, it's not optimal for them. I'll reveal that here towards the end of this rack. But for now, let your mind think about who that could possibly be. As Amān goes for this jump, the 7 in the side pocket. Almost executes it, but gets pretty good leave. Face man says Devi. Brendis says Castillo. Or Brendies. So I think Gus really wanted to run that cue ball behind the 9-10, but inadvertently clipped the 8. So it's going to give Amān here pretty good opportunity. Okay, decided to run this up and across. I think I may have just stunned this into that rail, kind of stopping momentum, but I'm also 70 points below these players, so, you know, what a shot. And he found really nice recovery here. So he's got options. I would go top right just because the side pocket's a little touchy here. Oh, and the jaws. So Amān's giving this one up to Gus. But in answer to that question, what player does not particularly enjoy playing Gus in a short race? Face man, you got it right. It's James Devi. Devi is a beast on the bar boxes. But for some reason, Gus has his number. Allegedly. I'm doing some like allegedly hand motions here in the booth. Can't see me doing it. But that's what I've heard. That's what I've heard. From the man himself. Take it or leave it. You believe me? I don't know. We'll see. Anyway, got a great game going here. 6-5 Gus over Amān currently in a race to 13 10 ball. Thank you all so much for joining me on this Wednesday evening. I am alone here in the booth, but there's plenty of action here happening at Ox Billiards. If you become a member, you can also join here on Wednesdays or Mondays, or any day that it's not public hours, you get access to the tables. And then when it is public access hours, you get 20% off the public rate. So really great deal. Gus here with a pretty good break, and I think he has position on the 1. James in the chat saying Gus is one of the most feared players. Absolutely. He's really calm demeanor. Every time I've played with him, I'm learning something new. Played with him in a mini Moscone down in Fife a couple months ago. And I'm actually playing doubles with him in the charity event happening at 15th Street. It's the Toy Drive Scotch doubles tournament. So Gus and I are partnering up. Hopefully I don't let him down. There's going to be a lot of really great shooters there. I know James DeVee's playing with Brandy, his partner. Plenty of other great matchups happening. If you are playing the Toy Drive event, let me know in the chat who you're partnered up with. And really looking forward to that event. But for now, Gus making pretty easy work of this rack. I imagine he puts a little bit of bottom left to come below the 9 ball for the 5 in the side pocket. I think he's just trying to suss out whether or not he can work that angle. Face man seeing see you there. I think I know who you are, but I like to maintain anonymity with users that don't have their names, so I will leave it at that. But yeah, I will see you there as well. Oh, Gus just caught that one a little too thick. And is he going to be rewarded? He is. Look at that. Yeah, Amān does not have a look on this 5, so he is going to have to kick first. And he definitely shaved and a haircut that. And is he going to get... No, he is not going to get rewarded. All right, so I think I'm Gus. I kind of hit this full with top right, kind of what he's doing now. Make sure I get around that 9 ball. Don't overrun that 6. Yikes. Less than ideal position here. See if we can zoom in on that. Yeah, didn't really have too many opportunities there. I kind of had to hit it thin. Blah, blub. If Amān continues playing like he is right now, I will need looking for a new partner. Hey, the shade. I like it. I like it. I like the spicy comments. Let's keep those going. So if Amān puts on a 4-pack, I need you to donate multiple toys to the drive. Oh, see? Oh, is this commentator's curse? No, I don't believe in that. I don't believe in commentator's curse. Less than ideal position was an understatement. Yeah, I do that sometimes, you know. I like to keep it interesting. I like to make sure that chat is keeping me honest here. So, oh, just a rattle of the jaws there from Gus. And Amān has a pretty decent cut opportunity after missing an easier 7. He's back at the table and looking to bring this game 6-6. Really good position here from Amān. Put a little bit of bottom left to go 2 rails for the 10 on the lower left. And almost overran it, but this should be pretty good. Right, and with that, it's a 6-6 game, so we've got action here, folks, on a Wednesday evening here in Seattle, Washington. It's about 7 p.m. Don't know where you all are tuning in from, but I imagine it's mostly the Pacific Northwest. If you are outside the state, if you are outside Oregon, Idaho, let me know. All right, so Amān to break this one off. He's been breaking at the line. Gus has been breaking with his hand on that short rail. Looks like he let off a little bit of power that time as well. And I'm trying to remember if I think he might have been dry on the last one too, or he kind of like let off that power. So if I were him, I would be looking to maybe break a little bit harder next time. Just to make sure those balls get an extra roll or two. All right, so Gus hits that one thick, trying to get prime position for the 2. Ends up missing that one. So now Amān's going to drop below this 2. Inadvertently runs into the 4, but might be a pretty good happenstance here. Where he can kind of thin this 2 and go 2 rails to leave himself for the 3 in the side. And the 4 in the right side pocket. Just kind of spin to win this one. If you are watching on YouTube, please hit that like and subscribe button. We are trying to bring you more action more frequently throughout the week. I am looking to do these types of streams at least twice a month, maybe more. Members will get priority to these types of streams. So if you've ever been interested, doesn't matter your skill level, I can match you up with somebody that's close to your skill level. Really good run here from Amān. Just ran past the 5 enough to get it in the side pocket. Still leave pretty good shape for that 6 in the lower right. Oh, but he hit the jaw. And that's going to roll out. And leave a shot for the 5 in the upper left corner. I think Gus can do a bit of a stop shot here. Maybe even a 2-way. Yeah. No, it kind of leaked. Alright, well, he's leaving Amān a kick. So, almost leaked out to a point that would have been bad, but... Well, Amān's going to take a piece of it on the right side, so he might actually be calling that top right corner. No, he made the ball. Wow. Had more of a look than I thought. Really good shot here from Amān. So he's going to roll this with top right to get between... No, I think he wanted to roll up more middle table for that 7 in the bottom left corner. But now that he... I'm not exactly sure what happened here. But... I guess Amān didn't call that pocket. I'm not sure what happened there. Anyway, he's back at the table. With a safety attempt that goes awry. Gets on the right side of the 8 ball for the 8 in the same pocket. I Think he can just stun this. Have the 9 in the lower right corner. Fortunate with the miss here. Pretty decent opportunity for Amān. Probably going to go 2 rails for the 9 in the side pocket. Oh, overran that one by a lot. Just going to have to accept a pretty long shot here. Looks like the 9 does go in the lower left pocket. Opts for a safety. But it's going to leak out. Leaked out just enough to make contact, but not to pocket this in the lower left, so... Interested to see what Gus does here. He may go 2 rails and send that 9 ball up to the short rail on the top side. Kind of just leave the cue ball right by the 10. Looks like he wanted to head in that direction, but maybe caught the 9 a little too thick and just didn't hit hard enough. It's not a bad miss from Amān, given that the 9 ball is now towards the short rail. So Gus opting for his safety, but that's leaking out way, way, way too much. My fiance just sent me a picture of Twelfth Casino asking me to come back. Okay, I guess they like my money. Anyway, Amān with a really nice cut here on the 10. Taking the lead for I think maybe the first time in this game. Shout out to Eleventh Casino. I get $10 in free play. Anyone else goes to Eleventh Casino, wants to hit up the casino, let me know. Zach.oxbilliards@gmail.com. Anyway, we are back here in Seattle, Washington. Amān Sunār to break off. Rack number 14. Fantastic break here. I think this may be the first time the 1 is actually potable off the break. Oh, it was dry? Gosh, I'm sorry. It was dry. Bit of a thin back cut here on the 2, but should be able to get position for the 3. Friendly bump on the 5. Gus just going to draw this one straight back since he has a lot of pretty straight on that 3. Taking some extra angle here, but it's better to be safe than sorry. So I actually think Gus wanted to be straighter on this 6 so he could just run the cue ball down the rail. But now he's going to have to opt for bringing the cue ball to the middle table for the 7 in the same pocket. And he ends up bumping that 7, but this, I think, is okay. I think he has the angle he needs to have that 7 in the lower left. And then he could, if he hits it soft enough, he could have the 8 in the left side pocket. But he caught it too thick. And it's not the worst. Not the worst leave here. Amān may be able to sneak that 7 past the 8. It's kind of what he's looking at. Really nice shot. Good position for the 8. He is reaching over the 10 just ever so slightly. Looks like he's going to go to the top right corner for the 8. Which means he needs to get some pretty good action on this cue ball to have a decent shot on the 9. Don't know if he needed that much action on it. But a little bit of a power error there from Amān. So Gus can just stop shot this. I feel like he wants to cheat the pocket a little bit, but I would think I would just accept the bigger back cut on the 10. You know, just make the 9. It's putting a little bit of bottom right on it. Yeah, just accept it. You don't always want to take this shot, but caught it thick again. He's been catching some of these balls pretty thick. So Amān with an opportunity here to go 2 up. He also caught that one thick. So both these players not quite seeing the thin cut angle here on a couple of these pivotal shots. But this one, more or less, is a gimme. I do not believe in commentator's curse. Amān with a pretty long 10 ball here. All right, Amān going up 8-6 in this match. Race to 13. Thank you all again for joining us here on this Wednesday. Yeah, it was a tough shot. A really good shot there off the rail. Speed control and just making sure that you hit that 10 pretty full in the face there. Pretty decent break, but yet again, it is dry from Amān. Pretty optimal layout here. 6 to the 7 and the 7 to the 8 are a little bit awkward. Even the 1 to the 2 have to have a pretty big draw stroke here. Which he does, but it catches a little bit of that point, kind of slows the momentum. Going to opt for the safety. He really would have liked to be locked up behind that 9 ball, so I think just taking an extra second to realize the speed that you need to hit on that safety play, as opposed to kind of just getting down and immediately shooting it, would have made a bit of a difference. But Amān also kind of just jumping in and shooting that safety. So Gus is going to thin this. Send the cue ball 2 rails back behind the 3. Ended up clipping the 3 a little bit, but not terrible position. Even though he missed a shot, pretty good leave here for the cue ball. He was left on the 3 pretty decently, but he's now obscured the 2. So Gus is going for a kick. And he called the 10. I think he called the 10 in the side there. Really good try. So Amān opting for a safety play here, really nice. Gus is going to have to opt for the kick. Hopefully he called the 3 in the side pocket. Pretty good tie-up given the circumstance he had there. Amān executing the 3-9 combo. Don't know if he's got a good enough look for the 3 in the same pocket, so actually, the way he's kind of squaring it looks like it does go. Friendly bump on the 5 there and to give himself shape for the 4 in the left side pocket. Now the question is, where do you want to leave the cue ball for the 5? I think he might roll around 2 rails. Come below the 5. Oh no, he caught it on the thick side of the face there, so... It's like he called the lower right, so he has a thin enough cut to avoid the 6. Oh, and just rattled the jaws there. Alright, so Gus does have a thin cut on this 5 to leave himself for the 6 in the lower left. Kind of just go up and down table here. Caught it way too thick. Yeah, if he catches that thinner, the cue ball rolls all the way up to that short rail, comes back down middle table, but because he caught it so thick, all right, so a fairly routine connect the dots here for Amān. Pretty good leave on this 8. Came up a little straight, but he can just roll this forward to this short rail and have the 10 straight into the lower right corner pocket. Executed nicely. So with this, Amān will be going up 9-6, and this will be the biggest deficit we have seen all match. 3-point deficit here. So for all the Gus fans in the chat, where are y'all at now? Amān has overtaken Gus to the tune of 3 racks. We are closing in on the final 13 here. Thank you all again for tuning in. Faceman asking, did Amān beat Bo on Sunday? I'm not sure. Can at Bo in the chat. Summon Bo to the chat. Can also ask Amān after this match. I do know they were playing on a side table during the Northwest Women's Pool Association Tour stop here at Ox Billiards this past weekend. If you want to check out some excellent lady shooters, check out the Ox Billiards YouTube. Those videos are posted to the YouTube page. Some really great action this past weekend. Ooh, and Amān with the scratch in the side. I believe this is the first scratch on the break we have seen this game. Bo Bologna also just won his spot to the Washington Northwest Cup team. So he is part of that team along with, oh, if I can remember off the top of my head, we got Blake Baker, Chandler DeCotto, Melissa Rushton, Bo Bologna, and there's one more. I'm sure there's one more, right? There's 5 players per team. Sorry, I don't have the full list in front of me at the moment, but if you do check out Northwest Cup Pool on Facebook, they do have the full list of both Washington and Oregon teams. Ox Billiards is a sponsor of that event, as well as Littman Lights, being the primary sponsor of that event. Let me just see if I can pull up Northwest Cup here. See if I can get you the full team information, because I need to do my due diligence here. Okay, so for Washington, it is Blake Baker, Cole Gibbons, Bo Bologna, Chandler DeCotto, Melissa Rushton. And for Oregon, it is Chris Byers, Michael Deichman, Brookman Holmes, Gavin Roderick, and Molina Ortiz. So pretty stacked lineups on both sides. Michael Deichman and Brookman Holmes and Molina Ortiz. All three of those are returning players for Oregon this year. Cole Gibbons is the only returning player for Washington. So Washington having a bit more of a fresh lineup going into this. And Oregon will be hosting at Legends Billiard Room November 23rd to the 24th. Cole Gibbons was an absolute standout in the last Northwest Cup. He actually was the MVP. I was covering that event, and he shot phenomenal. You can go and check out that article on the Ox Billiards website, on our blog page. Actually post that in the chat for anyone interested in reading up on what last year's results for the Northwest Cup were. For now, both these players making pretty quick work of this rack. Amān almost flukes a 5 on the side, but it would not have mattered. So yeah, last year the Northwest Cup for Washington was Daniel Sardoncillo, James DeVee, Cole Gibbons, Suzanne Smith, and Craig Dumo. The Oregon side was Paul Marquez, Matt Horner, Michael Deichman, Molina Ortiz, and Brookman Holmes. Lots of highlights in that event. One that stands out in my mind was Molina Ortiz having a 5-ball break and then break and running. But there's also Craig Dumo's magical kick. So go ahead and check out that article. Lots of good shots and positional plays from both teams in that event. Looking forward to this upcoming one. For now, back to this match. Gus with a pretty good safety here. He does leave a bit of this 5-ball for Amān to look at. Caught that one a little bit thick. Ooh, and he's going to get pretty lucky with this leave here behind the 9. Also, thank you, Phil and Faceman, for calling out Cole. Yep, that was the 5th player I was missing. Couldn't remember off the top of my head, but thank you all for being in the chat. Appreciate you. Cole Gibbons actually moved to Washington, so he's Washington gets to claim him on the team. I believe he did play for Oregon 2 years ago, so it's an interesting team switch. Alright, so Amān needs to get pretty flush on this 8. Which he did. Really nice shot here. Not the most ideal for the 9-ball leave. He's going to have to work the cue ball a little bit here to get a better angle on this 9. Which he executed to perfection. Let's go 2 rails here for position on the 10. He overran it a little bit, but the back cut is definitely in play. All right, and with that, Amān is now up 10-6 over Gus. Be back momentarily.
I know it, bro. We're gonna have to break both. Yeah, they're weird almost now. If I just follow that ball, I would have scratched it over here. Yeah. I'll keep it back.
Alright, sorry about that, folks. Still working out the kinks of the free music we can use here without having a DMCA strike, so figuring out those playlists just so it's not dead quiet here in the room. Those of you watching the Dodgers-Yankees game, it looks like the Yankees are up 6-5 now. All right, so Gus with a pretty long 1-ball opportunity here. Interested to see if he's able to hold this cue ball on the lower side of the table for the 2 in the top right corner. To try to do. That's a decent outcome. Doesn't look like Amān can back cut this one. He may be able to reverse bank it. I stand corrected. He totally back cut that. Good job. Really smooth bank here from Amān. Just gonna run this 4-ball up so he has the 5. Looks like he may be able to cut that 5 in the left side pocket as long as he gets decent position. So it looks like he's done. This cut is going to be a little bit awkward. Executes it really well. Just come out one rail here. Oh, he overran it. Overran it quite a bit. Yeah, it was really going to be hard to maintain that cue speed, hitting so thin on that 9, but looks like he's able to cut this into the left side pocket. So gonna need to hit this pretty smooth. And smooth he did. Amān now up 11-6. That's a 5-rack lead for those of us that can do math here at home. Thank you all again for tuning in. This is a Wednesday evening match, or afternoon or morning, wherever you are tuning in from. We are here live at Seattle, Washington, Ox Billiards. Ox Billiards does offer a membership program, so if you are interested in getting on these tables at any time, feel free to reach out to Mike at oxbilliards.com. I believe the membership rate is $200 a year, which is an absolute steal because you get 24-hour access to the club, as well as first look at member events. Anything hosted here at Ox Billiards, you get advance notice. All right, so Amān breaking much harder here. 8-ball on the side. This is what he needed to do. So there were several racks where he was breaking kind of soft, trying to control the cue ball, but letting a little bit more energy into the balls, allowing him to have a better spread. And the 1 is not stuck on the top rail, which it traditionally has done this particular match. Just avoiding that 6 and getting really good position here for the 2. He almost overdrew this, but really good luck here. Yeah, this, I'm not going to say I jinxed shit, but this may be the first break and run of the entire match. Again, asterisk. I don't believe in commentators' curse. It's going to be a little bit iffy getting on this 5-ball the way he wants it to. If I could draw this up on the board, I might go 3 rails. Short rail, right rail, between the 6 and the 8, all the way back down. Just like this, but avoid the 6. He did not avoid the 6. And it's kind of tough to tell, but he might actually be able to make this 5 in the lower right. Gonna need a really friendly bump here on the 6, which he did. Okay, so I would just draw this 1 rail below the 7, have the 7 in the upper right corner. But since he's stretched out so much, he may opt to run this forward, to have the 7 in the lower right corner. Now, was able to get the action he needed with the bridge, but even though he overran it, gets pretty good position for the 7 and is just past the jaw there, where he can run that 7 up pretty smooth even with the angle. Oh, clips the jaws. Somehow keeps the cue ball on the table. It's going to go for a reverse bank here. Definitely needs the cue ball to carry the angle as opposed to speed here. Smooth. Really nice shot. Cue ball's going to roll out. About a 50-yard liner here, but he should be able to cut this in the bottom left corner. Oh my God. Oh, you guys, I said there would be 2 break-and runs this game, and that was supposed to be one of them. So, you know, much like the Astros World Series, put an asterisk next to it. All right, so Gus getting some life back into this match after Amān going on a really impressive break and run and just barely hanging that 10 ball. All right, so Gus breaking from the rail and pretty good position here. I feel like his breaks have been pretty solid. Something about the rail and having that sort of like hand foundation on the rail allows you to hit a little bit smoother without as much power. Justin says, gotta start believing the curse. I don't know. I mean, I don't think that my voice carries so much cosmic power to change the layout of the table, but I mean, if I keep getting it right, should I buy a lotto ticket? I don't know. We'll see. Appreciate you joining in, Justin. It was really nice hanging out with you in Lincoln City. I like what you were doing with Evo Sports. Shout out Evo Sports. Evo Sports ran 6 simultaneous tables down in Lincoln City, BCA. So you could actually catch sort of like a NFL red zone sort of situation where you could watch multiple matches at the same time. So that was pretty cool. Gus, again, just overcutting a little bit. Leaving a hanger here for Amān. Not the easiest run out. You know, after he makes his 5, he is going to have to kind of maybe bump that 8 after making the 6. But as long as he sends the 8 towards that bottom left corner, shouldn't really have too much of an issue. Okay. Opts for not bumping your ball, which smart. You don't really want to be moving object balls around unnecessarily. Decently thin cut here on the 9, but if he makes this, it's pretty optimum shape for the 10. All right, and with that, Amān Sunār is now on the hill, up 12-7 currently on Gus Targonsky. For those of you unfamiliar with Amān, Amān did win platinum singles down in Lincoln City at the BCA event here in just a few weeks ago. believe he was on the A side for most of the time, and then had to battle it out through the B side to come around. Alright, so Amān is going to go ahead and copy Gus's break for the very first time here late in the game. And you know what? You might as well, when you got this much of a lead, when you have a 5-rack lead, you might as well try a new break. And this break is pretty decent. The one in the side is a bit of a tight cut, but it is there. Check out the other angle just in case. But yeah, it does look like he could make the one in that side pocket. He does risk running the cue ball into the 7 or the 10. But again, when you're up 5 racks, it's not really a huge risk. Opts for the one in the corner, and he's going to get pretty lucky here with the leave. And so Gus going to go for a kick opportunity here. Just trying to create some distance. Created it pretty well. Pretty fortunate outcome given the speed and the trajectory of that hit. Amān just completely missing that one. Just wanted to catch it the thinnest of hits. Alright, so opportunity for Gus to battle back here and at least take a rack. Close this deficit. Except he almost scratches, but he has enough of a look to make the 4. But it is going to be very awkward. He actually called the bottom. He just called the bottom, right? Yes, he did. Okay, so he didn't have enough clear of hit. Yeah, and it kind of seems like Gus is just kind of losing momentum here. Amān taking... Let's see, Amān was down 6-5, I think. It's now 12-7, so... Taking 6 out of the last 8 racks. Yeah, it kind of looked like he was corner hooked there on the jaw, so he had to try and create an angle. Amān's gonna break this out too. What a breakout. Really beautiful breakout. Depending on the angle he has here, he may... Okay, I was gonna say he may opt for a 7-10, but that's fine. You're just gonna have to overcut this 7 for the pocket, lower left pocket. Really nice shot. It's gonna roll out just enough for a look at the 8 in the side. Though the 8 all the way down may be safer. Just kind of depends what he feels. That's kind of what I was worried about with the 8 in the side.
Damn, it rolled out of fucking because of that dot. Shit.
Alright, so Amān's gonna have to get creative here. All right, so Gus will just take a stop shot on this 9 and have the 10 on the lower left. Oh no, it rattled. Yeah, I just think the momentum is swinging so heavily for Amān right now that sort of these like small errors are kind of just stacking one on top of the other for Gus. And with this, I think Amān is primed to close this match out. Stretching out a bit here. Just got to make sure this cue ball doesn't scratch. And that is it. 13-7 in favor of Amān. What a match that was. Thank you all for joining. This was Ox Billiards in Seattle, Washington. My name is Zach Ross. If you are interested in becoming a member here at Ox Billiards, please email mike@oxbilliards.com. We will be running more of these matches throughout the months to come. I'm looking forward to doing at least 2 a month, maybe more if my schedule permits, but I want to get more faces in the club, more matches, 8-ball, 9-ball, 10-ball. Y'all figure out the race you want to do and the circumstances around it, and we'll get it streamed. So thank you all so much for joining us. Hit that like and subscribe if you are on YouTube to continue following our content. If you're on Facebook, drop us a like and a follow, as well on Twitch. Thank you once again. Y'all have a lovely evening. Signing off here. Take care.